Gang, welcome to this Level Up podcast slash video. We're going to get into this very different style of vlog. If you like it, I might make more of these because it's really easy to make. But what I did was I presented a YouTube Q&A on my Instagram stories, and we have 6 already, so I was like, I might as well make it. If there's any intriguing questions that pop up, I may pop back into Instagram and basically answer them. But for now, sit back, relax. We have 6. So, first question: struggling to grow online. Tried everything, but nothing works. Okay. So, if you've tried everything but nothing works, you've either physically done everything, but it was shit, or you haven't done everything because otherwise it would have worked. Now, I would say that if you've tried everything and nothing has worked, I would say in that exact statement, you've probably not performed it at a high level. So we see this a lot with like people who come to TCT, and it's like, I've tried the Instagram content style, I've tried like the lead magnets, I've done this, I've done this, and then when you actually inspect it, it's like, well, it's not done at a high level. You've rushed through it, okay? And being a coach that's really, really successful, it has to be done right, it has to be done properly, it has to be done at a high quality, and you have to do everything. Like that's just the reality of it, okay? So what I'd actually suggest in this situation is, one, assess whether you have actually done everything. Like, have you actually done everything? Like, because there's a lot of things to do in business, okay? Um, so there's that question mark, and then if you're like, no, we sit down in a room and I've basically skimmed through everything that you've done, and you have done everything, I can almost guarantee that I'll look at the quality and it's piss poor. So that's what I would suggest. It could be something to do with, like, have you got a signature system? Have you got a USP? Have you got brand pillars? Have you got a clear promise with your coaching service? How's your copywriting? How's your video editing? How's your camera quality? Like, have you got proof of work? Like, are clients raving about you? Are you getting referrals on the back end? Like, there's so many things in business. So I would say, probably in my experience, you haven't done everything, or it's not done at a high level. Okay, so next question: how to scale the fastest way possible? Okay, so there's the fast way, or there's the not as fast way, but it grows quicker on the back end. Now, let me explain this. If I was to say to you, I want you to build the biggest tower or the tallest tower in the whole entire world, and you've got 60 seconds to do it, you would build a very tall tower, but the slightest gust of wind would blow it over, right? So that's how I like to analogize fast businesses, because a lot of fast businesses, especially with other mentorships, it looks great on Instagram that you've scaled from 0 to 10K in 2 months, but if you are faced with adversity, it's just going to tumble and you're going to be back to square one. Now, how I like to do things is I like to build things with a solid foundation. So, to go back to the tower analogy, I'll give you 3 minutes, but at the start, I want you to spend the first 1 to 2 minutes building a foundation. Okay, so actually digging down. So when you look at like how to build a foundation, it's actually digging down. So like, what's going on? What's the root cause? Let's rip a few things out. Build a solid foundation, then you can build a fucking massive skyscraper. Um, a lot of the time when you look at skyscraper buildings, I don't know how interested you are to look at this on YouTube, but but I'll tell you. So a lot of the times, a lot of like the core foundation, and that's where most of the time is spent into like just getting this infrastructure in place, and then the actual like building of a tower doesn't actually take that much time in comparison to the foundation. So that's how we like to work things. Is that, yeah, okay, on paper we are slower, as in like it's not like one of these ones where it's like escalating fucking really quickly. But in my experience, the ones who scale the fastest tend to be the ones that go back to square one very quickly. Our businesses, the ones that we create, if you leave TCT, in theory, you should be able to scale on your own, or at the very least maintain what we've built. Okay, that's how we build businesses. In my um, opinion, we build businesses properly, right? So yeah. Anyway, um, next question: what would you suggest if you had no money to invest in mentoring? Cool. Okay. So there's two things. One, you can ask your friends and family for money for mentoring. Okay. Now I know this seems like a bit of a shit one, but I'll take you back to when I first started my online coaching business, and I invested a lot of money into a mentorship. It wasn't a fitness mentorship, by the way. A lot of fitness business mentorships are like little sheep versions of other mentors. I'm actually lucky enough to actually not have invested in business mentorships, as in fitness mentorships. Um, so yeah, but I basically didn't have the money. Like I did not have the money, so I asked close friends and family. Luckily, Nat, my partner, did have a lot of money through inheritance, basically. So I managed to basically ask her, convince her that look, I'm gonna make this money back pretty quickly. So we basically dug into that, and then I replaced it very quickly. So like you could have something like that. Um, the other side of things, the um, how to get money basically is you would spend 1 to 2 years getting yourself into a position where you can finally invest in a mentor. So you can do that yourself. So you could either ask, or you could basically take videos like this, try and scale the business. We do have a free school community. If you DM the word combat on Instagram, I'll throw you into a free community where we basically try and help you build the business for free. Okay, so take advantage of that. You can obviously try this on your own, like by yourself, and then hire a mentor. Um, so yeah, they're the two ways. Um, so or get out a credit card. No, don't do that. The amount of mentorships that would recommend that is beyond a joke. But I would definitely not recommend that. By the way, it's funny because just as an off topic, it's funny because a lot of like people in our like financial sector will really recommend you getting a credit card. I am 30 years old. We have around 3 properties, um, and I've never once got a credit card ever, and I've done pretty well for myself. So yeah, it's funny when people are like, yeah, you should get a credit card, and it's just like, well, you don't need it. Anyway, very off topic. So, in terms of the next question, what does it take to make online coaching a full-time career? Okay, so a lot of hard work, like a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. When you are at your 9 to 5 job, presuming you have a 9 to 5 job, or you're in person PT and you have spare hours, don't use that for chill, use that to grind. I know that sounds very like, oh my god, what a cunt, like he's telling me not to have a work life balance, and blah 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 blah. I think the ones that are so fucking relentless and will sacrifice everything to become an online coach will simply become an online coach. There's nothing special about someone who has become an online coach. Obviously, they've invested in, they've learned about marketing and sales and all that good stuff. But a lot of it's just like grit, grind, and not expecting anything to just drop at their lap. It's like super, super, super hard work. For instance, when I was an engineer, like I didn't really have a weekend, and I didn't really have a weekend for like 3 years. I spent all of my weekends building my online coaching business. I spent my mornings building my online coaching business. I spent my lunch breaks doing it as well. I used to go for walks around my engineering firm and do like walk and talks with my Instagram audience. Um, I used to check in with my clients when I got home from work. Like, it's a lot of fucking sacrifice. But if you want to win, you have to sacrifice, okay? It's just a fucking reality of it. So, yeah, I don't actually think people realize how much work you have to do to make it. So be prepared to spend a lot of fucking time on this business and a lot of sacrifice. Most people give up when it's like, oh my god, it's really really hard. Yeah, yeah, it's building a business. It's gonna be fucking hard. So if you think that you're just gonna become an online coach just by like posting 3 times on Instagram and just voila, I made loads of money, don't fucking do it. Don't become an online coach. You're in it for the wrong reasons, okay? This is going to be really hard. If you're truly passionate about fitness, you want to help as many people as possible. You obviously want to make it your full-time career. You love the lifestyle. You love the laptop lifestyle. You can go anywhere in the world and work. If you love that, then yeah, the sacrifice is basically hard work, okay? That's it. There's a lot of learning involved as well. I don't think people actually realise how much learning is involved in like the marketing and sales aspect. One of the biggest comments we get in with TCT is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe how much there is about business and stuff like that." It's like, yeah, there's a lot, okay. But yeah, I would say the biggest differential between a coach that is just unsuccessful and a coach that's successful is like just grit, hard work, never give up mentality. Okay. Also, ownership is a big one. It's a big trait for successful business owners, just successful people who become full-time online coaches. There's never a feel for like this is someone else's fault. It's always like this is my fault and I need to work out how I'm gonna fix this. Okay, so they're very like data driven. They're very like, okay, this is my fault. Let's go and fix this. Okay, so everything in my own business is never someone else's fault. Everything in my own business, if it fucks up, it's my fault. I'm okay with that. Okay, so yeah, you need shark skin in this game. So yeah, that should answer a question. But what does it take to make it online? A lot. Okay, how fast could you scale your fitness business up again? I would say I could probably hit my first 10 grand month within the first month. The thing is, the thing is with learning about like marketing and sales and stuff like that is once you learn the skill of making money, you will never ever ever be broke. Like if you actually look at the investment, so one of the biggest ROIs in the whole entire world is learning skills, okay? Whether that's a sales skill, whether that's like a marketing skill, whatever, right? So let's just say, for example, you invest, let's just give an arbitrary number, you invest 10K into learning about a skill. In your lifetime, it makes you like, let's just give an arbitrary figure of like 500 grand, right? Huge ROI, right? People look at that 10 grand and they're like, oh my god, that's a lot. But they don't look at like the massive reward they get on the back end, right? And the interesting thing about that skill is that you could learn this skill and then it can make you 20 grand. But then what you could do is you could put it into a new industry and it can make you 1 million, 2 million, right? But you have to learn this skill. You have to learn these like skills of marketing, sales, copywriting, all that good stuff. Because the more skills you can learn, the more money you can make. Okay, so yeah, honestly, like if you ripped down TCT and you ripped down every other business that I have, and you're like start from scratch all over again, 10 grand month would probably be the first month. I would work faster than every other coach that you know, and I would so I'd build everything as quickly as possible. I would have a sprint for the first 30 days and I'd basically just sell. I'd clean sweep everyone. Because number one, I wouldn't care about how my social media looks. I wouldn't care for social media engagement and the views on my reels when every other coach around me is going to be worrying about that. I'm not. I'm going to be the one that's selling. So yeah, a lot of the coaches, one of the biggest things is like, I don't want to lose integrity of my page and stuff like that. And I'm just like, that's cool. Watch me make money. And that's how I treat it. Because in 2025, it's very easy to make money if you just don't give a fuck about what other people think about you. And that sounds really like arrogant, but it's like I would go into this industry, into the fitness industry, and I am super tempted sometimes. Like some days I'm really tempted just to go back in and just prove everything. But yeah, what I would do is just not give a fuck about any of that, and I would clean sweep everyone. And the reason for that is because when people are like, I don't want to DM, I'd be doing DMs. I don't want to run paid ads, I'd be running paid ads. I'd be doing all the shit that everyone hates. And that's how I'd scale. And that's how I did scale. Is because everyone else around me didn't want to do it and I did it. So if you want to scale fast in 2025, do shit that everyone else doesn't do, and do it quickly. Content suggestions for someone who is stuck for content. Do this. Ask questions to your audience. They'll give you, they'll give you questions to answer, and they'll do it all the time. Also, interesting one. If you have clients and you have check-ins, what you could do is basically every time you have a check-in and someone has a question, take the answer and make it for content. What you could then do is you could basically spit the question into ChatGPT and basically get ChatGPT just to ask similar questions. So you can prompt it like, this is a common question I get in my check-in form. Give me 20 questions like this, and it could be exactly the same, and that's your content. So yeah, but a lot of like content production is like, you need to know your niche and you need to know it to a T. But yeah, that's basically how I would look at things. But a lot of like stuck for content, by the way, is because it's like, oh, my last reel I posted, it got this amount of views, and then people stop, so they try and like get new content ideas. So what I'd suggest is don't look at Instagram analytics. Don't care. The other thing is that what I recommend to my one-to-ones is don't look at people in your own industry. So don't look at people in the fitness industry, because what a lot of people do is they take ideas from someone else in the industry and they try and copy it, but that's not being original. What I would really recommend is I would go and look at other niches. So go and look at other sectors: photography, videography, golfing, like F1. Go and look at reels other people make and then link it back to your niche, because that would be original, because no one's doing that in your industry. It might be from another industry, but you can link it back to your industry. So you can go and do that. We haven't got any more questions because everyone hates me. But I hope that answered some of your questions. 6 of your questions. If you like this style of this vlog / training, then let me know. And we'll chat soon.